Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me here again today on a Thursday. We're going to have a great time learning and growing together. Hi, my name is Pastor Josh Richter with Root Bible Academy, Root of Revival, Root Kidman. There are so many ways that God is resourcing his people through Root. It is just amazing. And so to find out more, go to rootbible.com. Thanks for joining me. Thanks to everyone also who partners with us. We appreciate you guys. Now, we've been talking about being content. How many felt this was going to be something totally different than it ended up being? Anybody? I'm with you, because God started speaking to me about it, and I'm like, wait a sec, are you talking about what I think you're talking about? And he wasn't at all. So here's another, just to kick us off, let's get straight into the scriptures. Philippians 4:11, this is Paul speaking. Not that I'm speaking of being in need, for I have learned in whatever situation I am to be content. And then from that point on, he talks about it didn't matter if he had a lot or a little, what was going on in life, he stayed content no matter what. Actually, you can see in just a few verses, a couple verses later, it says this. This is Paul's. I can do all things through him or through Christ who strengthens me. That is Paul's reality. It doesn't matter what's going on in the natural. No, if he keeps his eyes on God, then all of the other things God takes care of. If he stays focused on what God's called him to be, what he's called him to do, what he wants him to say, then from that point on, there's nothing to worry about. You don't have to strive. He can be in contentment everywhere. But what happens, I know way too many Christians that struggle with being content. No, if I can be content if I just have, if I can just do, if I can grow in this area, if these people will do this, if I can, no. You know who talks like that? The world. Why? Because that's a worldly reaction. That's a worldly, or perspective is a better word for it. That's not how God works. No, I know people that have spent their whole life striving after natural things, and whether they received it or whether they didn't, the end result is the same. It's not enough. Whether they didn't get it and they're like, oh, I just couldn't ever get there. No matter how hard I tried, felt like I just kept going a few steps forward and a bunch of steps back. Or they powered through, pushed through, made it happen. And it's why millionaires have some of the highest suicide rates. Not that God doesn't want anyone to be a millionaire. I'm not saying that. But when your trust, your focus is all on natural things, you're going to reap natural rewards, natural results. And if your trust is in finances, you're never going to have enough to never have to worry. That's the truth. But if your trust is in God, I have no concern. I have no worries. I'll do what he says when he tells me to do it, and I know he's going to lead me to green pastures, to lie down next to still waters. He restores my soul. Sheep doesn't have to figure out where the next meal's coming from, what it's going to wear, how it's going to get back and forth, what it's going to... No. Just follows the voice of the shepherd. And that's what God's inviting us into, to simply follow the voice of the shepherd. Not to grumble, not to whine about this isn't right, that's not right. I wish I had this, I could have done that. You know, if this would have just worked out a little differently, you never know. Or worse, God, you see what I'm doing. Why am I going through this? What is the deal? Why are you not true to your word? Why aren't things happening like you say they will in your word? Whatever. You know what that sounds like? Sounds like the Israelites. And you do not want to be lumped in with the Israelites, grumbling about leaders, grumbling about circumstances, grumbling about this or that. I mean, look at what Moses tells the Israelites here in Exodus chapter 16, verse 8. It says, and Moses said, when the Lord gives you in the evening meat to eat, and in the morning bread to the full, because the Lord has heard your grumbling that you grumble against him, what are we? Your grumbling is not against us, against Moses and Aaron and Miriam and the leaders. Your grumbling is not against us, but against the Lord. They thought they were just whining about leadership. God was saying through Moses, you're not just whining about leadership, you're whining about God. It's showing a lack of trust in God. There's things that we need to say, we need to do, we need to vote, we need to do things that will help put godly people in leadership positions. But grumbling about what leadership is doing won't help. No, instead, we have to go to God, not with grumbling, to find out his answer. We don't get God's answers by talking to him only about the problems. No, we get answers by talking to him about him, that he is the answer, that he always knows, and that we come to him without fear, without grumbling, without complaining. We don't want to go like the Israelites. The Israelites didn't do very well as they continued to grumble and complain. You can look at in all the times where they would grumble and complain, and bad things would happen. Why? Because you're talking like the devil would talk. Accuser of the brethren, accuser of God. I'm doing this, and the word says this, but it's not happening in my life. Guess what? You're going to reap. It's not happening in your life, and in fact, you're going to sow those seeds, and you're going to reap a good harvest. Pressed down, shaken together, running over. Why? Not because God's mad at you, because that's spiritual principles, foundational spiritual principles, that whatever you sow, you will reap. And I never have sown a piece of kernel of corn and reaped just one kernel of corn. Even with my lack of attention to my corn in the garden, I still get corn that produces, corn stalks that produces heads of corn that aren't as big as you would buy in the store or as full, but I'm telling you, there's still hundreds of kernels of corn from that one seed. That's how it works in our life. So what are we going to sow? What are we going to plant? Well, are we going to plant all kinds of energy into natural things? Or are we going to end that cycle? How long are we going to go around that same mountain pursuing natural things and never quite getting there? Never having enough, never receiving the satisfaction in our souls. That's not how it goes. Look at what what's written in Hebrews chapter 13. Keep your life free from love of money and be content with what you have, for he has said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. Where's the focus first? Money. What is that? Natural. Where's the focus second? Being content with what you have, and for as he said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. Where's the focus go to? Him, to God. That's where we have to get. It's time for us to drop all of this endless chasing after natural things for a world that will soon pass away, and instead pursue supernatural things with supernatural eternal rewards, so that he can be glorified, so that people can see him, so that we can usher in the next great awakening, so that we can see a full mass, a revival sweeping through our cities and bring thousands to him. See the impossible become possible. I'm going to leave you with one more verse. 2 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 1. Therefore, having all these promises, beloved, let us cleanse ourselves from all defilement of flesh and spirit, perfecting holiness in the fear of God. It's time to wipe it all away, to end the cycle, to stop focusing on natural things, be content with what you have, seek after him, and see him bring his supernatural rewards in his time as you learn to simply trust him. To be content in the natural so that you can passionately pursue what he has for you supernaturally. All right, y'all. I got to let you go. Have an amazing day. I'm so glad you're joining me here, and we will see you all, we as in me and everybody else watching, we'll be back on tomorrow, same time. All right. Bye, everybody.